Good evening and welcome to Different Perspectives. I'm Paul Ndiho coming to you from Washington, D.C. And we are streaming across all social media platforms. We are on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And if you are joining us live, make sure you follow, you subscribe, and share this conversation. Before we begin, I want to state that for the record, we reached out to representatives of the NRM and the Electoral Commission to ensure a balanced dialogue. However, we have not been successful in securing their participation for tonight's broadcast. And tonight, let's take a step back from the rhetoric and examine the structure of Uganda's January 15th election and what followed. To understand the current political environment, we have to look at how the system operates, not just what it says. In political science, there is a concept known as a managed transition, a framework perfected in the 1930s under Joseph Stalin. Stalin was the General Secretary of the Soviet Union who transformed a revolutionary state into a centralized autocracy. Stalin famously observed that the vote itself does not matter. What matters is the person who counts the vote. In other words, people can show up to vote, but as long as that vote is being counted by somebody who the regime trusts, that's all that matters. Tonight, let's apply that lens to the official 71% victory in the reality of a political movement now operating from the United States. To use a football analogy, imagine playing on a match where the pitch is tilted, the NRM is your opponent, they are the field, they are the player, they are the referee, they are the goalkeeper and the linesman. And for you in the opposition, your hands are tied and they're telling you to kick the ball. Italian diplomat and philosopher Niccolò Machiavelli once argued in his book, The Prince, that the arena of power, the law is written by the victor. In the 2026 cycle, we observed this through judicial goalkeeping. The 𝙬𝙬𝙀 institutions managed eligibility while the leadership maintained possible deniability. The state's narrative is that they were upholding the law to ensure national stability. If that wasn't enough, we are now talking about the protection of the sovereignty bill being debated in parliament that could take away protections for people in the opposition and the diaspora. Then, of course, there was the big elephant in the room, the internet blackout during the election period. Uganda experienced a nationwide internet blackout, cutting off real-time reporting on these elections, independent verification, and public scrutiny. What that creates, analysts call it a black hole. And the flow of information is restricted. Only the official tally is the version that everybody is expected to believe. In other words, we are only told by the Electoral Commission that the current president won the election. But that raises a critical question. There is a fully credible account where when independent voices are cut out, constrained, the actors are no longer on the ground or in jail? Well, joining us tonight from Washington, D.C. is Robert 𝙤𝙤𝙣'𝙩, aka Bobi Wine, the leader of the National Unity Platform. He spent weeks out of public view following the election before resurfacing right here in the United States, where he is engaging policymakers and international institutions about the future of Uganda. Hello, Mr. Bobi Wine. Welcome to Different Perspectives.
Thank you very much for having me, Paul. I greet you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is 𝙤𝙤𝙣'𝙩 Robert Mitembo, aka Bobi Wine, aka Ghetto Gladiator, aka Mubanda wa Kabaka Wakavi, and I'm coming to you live from Washington. I'm very glad to be here with you all in the different perspective.
Well, it's a pleasure to finally talk to you, Mr. President. Let me first of all give you an opportunity to greet your supporters. Tell them why you are right here in the United States. What are you doing here, Mr. Bobi Wine?
Thank you. I greet you, friends. I wish I could use all languages. Nimbaramucha bana tubalamusako mwena mwena banange mbalamusizako baganda bange mwena mwena nembebaza emirimu gye mutuusako engalo. I greet you, brothers and sisters. Uh, from Uganda, from East Africa, and from the world, but most importantly, from Uganda. Paul, the last time I was with you, we were with the great boy from Kabari, Shaka Sali, who we don't have anymore. May his gentle soul rest in eternal peace. We've lost so many people. We've lost Edith Katende Mufumbiro, our lovely sister, was an anchor not only to her husband, Alex Waiso Mufumbiro, our deputy spokesperson, but to all of us, the friends of their family. Unfortunately, wasn't able to even lay her to nurse her. She was sick on a sick bed, let alone lay her to rest. But we pray for him. As we speak right now, we just lost one of our fathers, the father of our brother Mbogo William Nyazi, aka General Sensor, aka Mbogo. We pray for
My
you. We
condolences.
stand with you, brother Mbogo. I mean, all this is owing to the misrule and the sick healthcare system itself. By the time of having this conversation, I've been reading this book. This is a book called The 𝙤𝙤𝙩 Reflections, Questions, Fears, and Hope. But the author of this book was shot dead last week in Kawanda by gunmen, the same guys that killed Chirumira, the same guys that killed Kawese, the same guys that tried to kill Katumba Amala, same guys, regime guys. Yeah, tough times. I'm speaking to you from Washington, not because I want to be here, but because I ran away from my motherland to save my life as I was being pursued by the Ugandan military and the entire security, all Uganda security under the orders of General Museveni's son, Mozi, who is also chief of our defense forces. So many people have been killed, abducted, tortured, and incarcerated in that line. As we speak right now, our sister Fauzia Natabi, who we fondly call Mama Cheyune, the wife to my personal political assistant, just returned from jail. She was abducted and was missing for 37 days. Grave things were done to her, like all women. As we speak right now, our sister, who we fondly call Blue Tick, is still missing. She was picked from the vigil of our sister, Edith Katende Mfumbiro, and up to now she's missing. Nevertheless, we are still hopeful, we are still strong, we refuse to give up. We say that we are going to fight and get our freedom or die trying to get our freedom. We are speaking on the backdrop of another rigged election, another joke of an election, where, as you know, the military took over and all manner of atrocities were committed against the people of Uganda, live on camera. But we are here. We are here because we continue to empower our people, to charge them, to mobilize them. When I left Uganda, made it to the US. Of course, you all remember we had an election on the 15th, but as soon as I cast my vote with my wife and returned home, we were surrounded by the military. And then following, they raided, but I made it out of home without their knowledge. Of course, they continued searching for me to no avail until on the 23rd when they raided my home, tortured my wife and family, stripped them naked and humiliated them. Of course, Mohozi was to later tweet her picture subjugated in her own house and made to sit down. But all that are signs of weakness, not strength on their part. Nevertheless, we are here. I could go on and on and on and that. It's a sad intro. But one thing that I always conclude with is that we are going to win. One day everything is going to be all right. One day all this is going to be history. Just like we are talking about Stalin, but he's gone. And, Italy is free, Europe is free. Um, we are talking about the days of Idi Amin, but Idi Amin is long gone. And all those that he was using to torture our people, to humiliate our people, are nowhere to be seen. So, in the same way, everything is on our side, every factor is on our side, and we're going to be free. I'm glad to be here, Paul. Thank you for having me. And I pray that we have good conversations here.
Terrific. Thank you so much for giving us that background. Now, let's get into the real deal here.
Yeah.
Obviously, you experienced some of these things that you talked about, and I don't wish anybody to experience what you went through. Just from the look of things, both on the ground, from abroad, the official results that were announced by the Electoral Commission put President Yoweri Museveni at 71.6% of the vote, and they put you at 24.7%. You argue that the reality is further from the truth. Why?
Well, in Uganda, official means fake, official means fraudulent.
We seem to have lost my nice guest here, Bobby Wine. I think he's experiencing some technical issues. I think once he comes back, I'll bring him back live. We are live on air. We are talking about the aftermath of the Uganda elections. What happened during those elections. He is here telling us exactly what he went through, what his family went through. And as you can see, those are some of the pictures where he's being dragged around, beaten around by members of the military. Bobby Wine, are you back? Bobby Wine, are you back on air? So just for context, again, Uganda had elections in January on the 15th, and the president, Yoweri Museveni, will be sworn in about 2 weeks' time. Obviously, he won with a huge majority. He garnered at least the biggest victory yet that we have seen in the context of Ugandan politics, 71.6% of the vote. A lot of people who subscribe to the opposition or people who are opposed to the current government say that the election was nothing short of a fair, credible election. They talk about how the election itself was not fair, was not credible, and therefore most of them are boycotted. Tonight, my special guest is Bobby Wine, aka the people's president. He's live. I think he's experiencing some technical challenges. All the people who run the regime have come after him right here in Washington as well. This is very unusual for something like this to happen when you're talking to a guest and all of a sudden they disappear. So I hope nothing funny has happened to Mr. Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi, aka I'm hoping to get him as soon as he comes back on. I will bring you his story. But just to recap, we are looking at a system here where for example, in the 2026 cycle, we observed this through the regime has come up with creative ways of doing things, and not that they are illegal, but what we are seeing is a legal process. So because they've always had the benefit of having the majority in parliament, they have figured out how to circumvent. Okay, Bobby Wine, please can you join the call again? Oh, okay, please. Yeah, please join. I'm live. We are still live on air, so please join. Yes. Okay, please. Okay, no problem. As you can see, sometimes when you're doing a live show, stuff like this happens, the unexpected happens. But what do? You just bootstrap and soldier on. So I was trying to give some context here. I was trying to say that what we've seen in this election cycle, in the 2026 election cycle, we observed that through judicial gatekeeping, the courts blocked a lot of people. Not that it's illegal, because the laws of the land support that kind of stuff. Most of the things that you see being done by the government are clearly legal. So you could argue that, oh, they are overreaching. No, these are some of the laws that have been passed because they've always had the benefit of having the majority in parliament. So in most cases, the laws that they have put in place tend to favor them. As we wait for Bobi Wine, I'm trying to make sure that I reached out to the NRM spokespeople. I reached out to the Electoral Commission in Uganda. They all declined. I've not heard back from the NRM people, but I was able to hear back from the Electoral Commission. They declined. So, but what we are doing for sure is to make sure that this is a story that is fair, that is balanced. As we look at, basically, we're trying to examine what really happened during and after the elections. So earlier I was talking about how you have surrogate institutions. For example, the courts, the spokespeople of the regime, all these institutions that rely heavily on the regime became like the gatekeepers of whatever is happening in the country. So, yes, my good friend Bobi Wine is back. Welcome back, Mr. 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙪.
Thank you very much, and please pardon me. I had some technological glitch here.
I was worried that maybe some of your enemies have come for you right here in Washington, D.C.
Well, those are not my enemies. Those are enemies of freedom. Those are enemies of Uganda.
So,
but here
okay.
I am.
Okay, so let's. I had asked you a question. Let's go back to the question I was trying to ask you. I said,
please
the numbers,
ask me again.
Okay, the numbers during the election, we have President Yoweri Museveni being declared the winner. You coming in second place with 24.7% of the vote. How do you square the two? What can you tell us and the viewers about what really happened? You say the story could not be further from the truth.
Yeah, like I said, and I don't know if I'd already gone off then, when I say that in Uganda, anything called official means a fake, especially when it relates to elections. Because whatever was announced by Mr. 𝙤𝙤𝙀𝑻𝙀 is completely different from what happened at the polling stations. It does not in any way reflect what came from the population. The people voted completely different today. The people rejected General Museveni and his regime, his decadent regime of 40 years. Unfortunately, the election was already taken over by the military, and 𝙤𝙤𝙀𝙀 was working at the behest of the military. There are many places where, we won on every polling station, not only at presidential level, but even at parliamentary level, district level, even at councillor level. But what was declared was what the RDCs, or the representatives of the regime wanted. So what was declared was completely different from what the people said through their vote. We rejected it. We continue to reject it.
That's a great point. Earlier, I talked in the intro. I talked about how there was this famous guy.
I'm sorry. I don't know if you still hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear.
You keep being muted.
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me? Bobi Wine, can you hear me? Hello, Bobby Wine.
Paul, I don't know if it is with me, but I cannot hear you.
Really? I think it's your mic. On my end, everything looks good. I think. Hello? Hello, Bobby Wine? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Bobby Wine? Hello? Bobby Wine? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Okay, so again, we are experiencing some technical challenges.
Hello?
And yes, Bobby Wine, I'm here. Bobby Wine, can you hear me?
It's muting.
Hello, can you turn on your video, please? I can hear you. Hey, Bobby Wine, I can hear you. Can you please turn on your video?
Yeah,
okay.
Unfortunately, I cannot hear you, Paul.
Are you sure?
I don't know why it keeps muting. I can only hear you when I call you on phone, but I cannot hear you now.
You can't hear me. I think something is okay. Oh. Let's do this. Let's do this. Talk in the phone. Okay, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can only hear your voice on the phone.
Okay, let's try something different here.
Sure.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I only hope that the audience will be hearing us, because unfortunately that I cannot hear you. I don't know if I have to restart my gadget again.
No. We are perfectly fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do it then.
Okay, so let's take me back. Take me back to the elections. You're talking about how the system is rigged. And I can totally understand. We have an echo now.
Yeah, definitely we have an echo, because I'm talking to you from a different gadget.
Okay, let's see.
Allow me restart my gadget, because the communication we have here, it is my utmost interest that our message goes out to the population that we are meant to address. So I beg your indulgence that I get to restart my gadget, and so we can have the opportunity to speak to the people far and wide. My apologies.
Okay, don't go away. We are live. And my special guest tonight is Honorable Bobby Wine. Yeah, again, when you are doing a live, sometimes you do the unexpected. Things are going to happen. Technical issues are going to come. I think it's because of the sheer number of people. I can see we have a lot of people who are trying to watch the show. It could be that either it's crashing on his end, but as far as I'm concerned here, my audio is still very good. And I was trying to give some kind of a context earlier before he dropped off again. We are having some technical issues. I was trying to compare to say that in this 2026 election cycle, we observed a couple of things. We observed these surrogate institutions, from the judiciary to the security apparatus in the country. The way they do things, sometimes they do things that one would question. But that's what a regime that has been in power for a long time has been able to do. You build these institutions, but these institutions are intertwined with the ruling party of the day. So what we observed that during this election cycle, President Museveni is going to be sworn in less than 2 weeks. Members of parliament are going to be sworn in less than 2 weeks. So you have these institutions like the courts, for example, where they managed eligibility. They controlled who came, who played, who participated in these elections. If for some reason they did not like you, you went to court, and the courts would say that, you know what, you are not qualified to do this, or you cannot be part of this, whatever. Then you also have the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission, like earlier, I gave an example of how Joseph Stalin said that it doesn't matter how many people show up to vote, but what matters is the people who count the vote. And in this particular context, the Ugandan Electoral Commission counts the vote. It's not the people who vote. People can show up in droves, but what matters is the person who counts the vote. And I see Bobby Wine is back now.
Okay.
Hello, Bobby. Can you hear me now?
Hi, how are you doing? Yes, I can hear you. And I pray that I continue hearing you.
Okay, terrific. Okay, sure. So let's go on. So address the elephant in the room.
Yes,
in
please.
2021, your party did very, very well. You surprised every single person. You pulled off the imaginable. In 2026, you fell short of that. Your party fell short of that. How do you square that?
Paul, you cannot say the election of 2026 was an election. Not even 2021. This was a military operation. You saw how the military took over. You saw how even where our candidates won at every polling station, but the one that came third or even fourth was announced winner simply because they were NRM. I'll give you cases of Nakawa, where Alex Wise from Mufumbiro won almost every polling station, cases of Kampala Central. It can go on and on and on. So this was not an election to write home about. You know, Mr. Byabakama declared results that were non-existent. The whole idea was this. I mean, up to now, there are demands of the Electoral Commission in Uganda to upload the declaration of result forms, the DR forms, on the internet, but they have not, because they know that the results were just cooked up. They were not genuine. Therefore, I mean, whatever they announced was not anything realistic or anything to relate with what happened on the ground.
Mr. Bobby Wine, in fairness to the Electoral Commission, I reached out to the spokesperson of the Electoral Commission, and he declined to comment, but he said that the Electoral Commission only deals with matters leading up to the elections. Anything after the election has to be handled within the quota system. How come, if there are those discrepancies, you and your team or your party members did not choose to go to the courts, but rather instead you chose to boycott the court system?
What courts are you talking about? A court that is presided over by a Chief Justice who was sworn in at Museveni's private farm? Is that the court that you're talking about? The justice system, the judicial system in Uganda is a shadow of itself. It is a joke. So going to court, especially at the presidential level, would be just another matter of legitimizing the illegitimate regime. You know, you saw what happened in 2021. We went to court, but Owini Doro, the then Chief Justice, showed it to all and sundry that the judicial system in Uganda was in the armpits of the regime. But again, the new Chief Justice who was appointed and sworn in at Museveni's private farm went further to show you that you cannot expect any judicial justice from the court system in Uganda. This is a judicial system that will throw you minor petty victories to give you an illusion of justice, but it's not there. That is why we did not want to deceive ourselves going to court to challenge General Museveni, who appointed the Chief Justice. And now, how would you expect a Chief Justice that has been sworn in from the man's private farm to adjudicate fairly over a matter where his appointing authority is the defendant? No.
How about people who, for example, they are members of the opposition who have gone to court and they have had their victories, who had lost and have had their victories reinstated?
I told the people of Uganda some time ago that they should not be fooled by the small victories that they give them, because those people that give them these small minimal victories are the ones that stole our major victory in the first place. However, I did not discourage them from going to court. Why? Because winning the case is not the main agenda, but sometimes exposing the regime, exposing all these institutions of state as completely captured, sometimes is the agenda. We went into the election of 2021 and also of 2026, not because we expected to be announced, but because we wanted to make it clear to all and sundry that this is a completely rigged system.
Bobi Wine, you are a hugely popular guy in Uganda. Young people love you. I've seen you move around across Africa. People talk about you. They say how you could be the future leader of that country. What makes you tick?
Am I tick?
What makes you stand out? What makes you stand out as a young opposition leader?
Paul, first of all, I'm not young. I wouldn't count a guy who's 44 a young person. But again, I don't want to be the marking scheme. I don't want to make this about myself. We have so many people that are thick, or even thicker than me, if that word exists. So let's not make this about myself. I'm just one of the many Ugandans that want to use their loud voices to advocate for what is right. It should never be about me, because if we make it about me, then my imperfections will also be judged on this struggle. I'm just one of the many Ugandans that also have flaws, you know. I just want freedom. I just stand for what is right with my, strength and weakness. And I know that what makes me what I am are the many efforts, the many energies that are surrounding me. People might be looking at me, but I'm a voice that projects so much energy and so much wisdom and so much smartness that is surrounding me. I'm only a reflection of a generation that has been cheated, a generation that is angry and that is hungry. So let's not look at my being thick or lack of the same. Let us look at the challenges that we face. What makes me stand out is because I speak about things that are affecting everybody. Journalists like you, common artists like myself, barbers like 𝙿𝙤𝙪, who's in prison, common hawkers like Olivia Lutaya, who's now the most popular female political prisoner, people like Machete, who's a border rider. I'm just a reflection of so many people. What maybe makes me what you call popular is the fact that there are so many people that are like me, that share the same pain and the same dream and hope.
Bobby, when I posted this advert that you're going to be on this platform, I got a lot of calls. I got a lot of interesting comments. Some of them are from your fans. Some of your fans said that they lack direction. They wonder if you are going to go back to Uganda. They wonder if you are still their leader. How would you respond to those people?
Whether I'm going to go back to Uganda, I'm definitely going to go back to Uganda. I'm Ugandan, Paul. Okay? I am going to go back to my country because that's where I belong. I've said it before, and I say it again, that I will never be British or Chinese or American. I'm Ugandan, I'm African. I am out of Uganda because I'm advancing the struggle on another front, and to ensure that I leave some more running away from my country was in many ways a postponement of my execution. As you know, my life was being sought after by a murderous guy that has killed so many of my friends, that killed 23 of my comrades by his hand, and was praying that I'm the 24th dead body at his hand. Unfortunately, he did not get what he hoped to get. So I'm out of the country so I can continue speaking and giving direction and, you know, touching various buttons, well knowing that dictatorships like the one in Uganda, just like it was in the days of Amin, are largely kept in place by international powers like the United States of America, that has for so many decades been giving Museveni up to $1 billion every year, which money is used to oppress the people of Uganda. I am here, like I will be going everywhere, to call them out and to ensure that we do everything possible by any moral means to stop the Western world from funding our oppression. And yes, somebody might ask, like many regime apologists, I saw them claiming that I'm not Pan-African because when I escaped from death in Uganda, I did not run to an African country, but instead ran to America, which is branded colonialists and imperialists. I answered to them, like I want to reiterate my answer right here, that, you know, in yesteryears, when our fathers and grandfathers were fighting for freedom, they would just cross the border. In the days of Idi Amin, they would cross to Tanzania and they would be safe. They'd cross to Kenya and would be safe. But lately, the dictatorship in Uganda has been, you know, exported to various places. That's why abductions are rampant in Kenya and Tanzania and other countries. Dr. Kizza Besigye, the opposition icon and inspiration to so many of the people in my generation, who was the opposition leader before myself, was abducted from Kenya by Ugandan forces, driven across the border in a car boot, you know, at the watch of the Kenyan security. And now he was charged in a kangaroo military court. Many people, you saw what happened to Boniface Mwangi in Tanzania. You saw what happened to our sister Agatha Tuhere, and many, many others. So countries around East Africa were no longer safe for us. And yes, you could not go there and demand that the East African community or the African Union prevails, as you know that many of them have been reduced to clubs of presidents. And because I also know that Museveni gets his bloodline, his energy, his survival from these countries that profess to be democracies, then it was necessary to bring it to them and tell them to stop sponsoring our oppression, to stand by the values that they profess: democracy, the rule of law, and human rights. And we are, you know, confident that when we push and push and push harder, at least democracies might have their flaws, but they have a conscience. You remember that Nelson Mandela was branded a terrorist by the Margaret Thatcher administration. It is even after his presidency almost ended that he was removed from a terrorist list in the United States. So the apartheid regime, which was white, was actually supported by America until it was thoroughly exposed. And when America took its hand off the apartheid regime, it came down crumbling like a pack of cards. So we are confident that if the Western world stops sponsoring the Ugandan dictatorship, it will be game over.
But Bobby, to your point, there are a lot of people who said that maybe from a strategical point of view, that's not a greater place to be in. Yes, I know where you're coming from. You're trying to use every means at your disposal to create some kind of awareness about what's happening in Uganda. But there are those people who argue that trying to ask the Western nations to put sanctions, they're not just affecting the regime, they're affecting the ordinary people. They're affecting people with HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis. They're affecting kids who depend on some of, of the schools that have been built by this donor money. And the fact that you keep pushing this, some people have criticized you to say that maybe you're not patriotic enough. How would you respond to that?
Paul, there will always be those people. Like I told you, there are those that criticize me from running away from death. They claim I should have been a martyr, you know. But I know he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day. There are those that will criticize everything that I do. But I invite those armchair analysts and critics to fold their sleeves and get into the arena. In the first place, having ordinary people like myself, hawkers, barbers, border riders, showing up, rising to the occasion, and leading was out of desperation. It was born out of the betrayal and the relegation of duty by those that we thought were the ones to fight for us. Many of them prefer comfort. So there will always be people like that. But also to answer your question even more clearly, our demand is not complete cutting off of life-saving aid. No, we are calling for targeted sanctions to those that abuse human rights and democracy. You have seen sanctions that were slapped to other
Joseph
countries.
Kabila.
Recently they slapped sanctions on Joseph Kabila. He might have, there might be justification for those sanctions, but how come we've not seen sanctions on Museveni, who is responsible for mass murder? How come we don't see sanctions on Muhoozi, who tortures people for fun and is not shy to admit he tortures people live on social media? Comes out and tweets about, he admits his atrocities himself. That is what we are demanding. We are demanding for targeted sanctions. The United States and Europe, they have laws like the Global Magnitsky, which we call upon them to put them in effect, because the people that plunder our country actually invest in these countries. This is where they had their ill-gotten wealth, their stolen wealth. We want sanctions then on them, because they are depleting our treasury. They are, destroying our education system, our healthcare system, because them and their families don't get education or healthcare from Uganda. We want them to be getting them from Uganda. And talking about, things like HIV/AIDS, as a journalist, I'm sure that you have seen in the past about the Global Fund and Gavi Fund scandal. The same money meant for our people that are vulnerable, those with HIV/AIDS and others, stolen by the powerful and mighty. So even the aid that is given to help our people is actually not helping our people, because it is being stolen by those that are in power.
I wanted to go back to the point that you just made. Earlier, I talked about the issue of possible deniability, meaning that I can deny because I'm not actually, I'm using other people to say what I'm saying, right? For example, you talked about President Museveni, you talked about his son. Those people could deny because they're not physically involved in the acts that you alluded to. They could say, I was never there and I've never done this. Or the person in the son of President Museveni could say, people could use AI to impersonate him to tweet some of these things. How would you respond to that?
Well, they were, and he might be evil, but you'll give it to Museveni that for a long time, he has been smart. He has always had cat pals. He has always had people that he uses and later on dumps. People like Kakoza Mutale, people like Kale Kaihura, who have been sanctioned for the atrocities of Museveni. People like Erweru, who have carried out Museveni's illegal and brutal orders. He has always been smart. But for us among the Baganda, our tradition teaches us that we have a spirit called Bwanika or Emandwa ya Bwanika, which will ultimately expose you. And we are glad that that is working because his son Muhozi, who is clearly his heir apparent, does not pretend about the atrocities. He commits them and owns them up and communicates proudly about the same. So it is no longer deniable. And even Museveni's age, back in the day, when he was still agile, when his mental faculties were still uptight, he was smart enough to hide them. But every once in a while, he gets the cat out of the bag. You remember when our brothers Nicholas and Bob Njagi from Kenya were abducted and the police denied, abducting them. The military denied owning them. And they were held for weeks in incommunicado detention, while every security institution denied them. But when Museveni came out, and thanks to age, he said, oh yeah, these Kenyan people, they were kept in the fridge. Boom, he let the cat out of the bag. I mean, when I was abducted and tortured to near death in Arua, everybody denied it. The military denied it. They tortured me so bad, but they denied anybody, including my family, access to me until they had injected me with steroids and to reduce the swellings and to kind of hide the beatings. But months later, Museveni was to come out while he was addressing police and as he was passing them out and said, yeah, that man was beaten very properly. So you might not be very religious like many people, but you will agree with me that God is on our side and he always reveals our enemies to the world.
Not that I'm trying to defend, because those guys are not here to defend themselves. I have to play that role. I want to make sure that we don't get in trouble just for clarity. There are a lot of fake accounts. I've seen a million fake accounts in Mhozi's name. I've seen a million fake accounts in your name. Even me, there are so many fake accounts in my name. So sometimes what we see online might not be what is the truth. But being said, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry. As you continue, I'm also sure that you know that a verified account has a blue tick, right? And you know that you have seen it before, that when my bodyguard 𝙬𝙤𝙀 went missing, the same official platform of the Chief of Defense Forces released naked pictures of 𝙬𝙤𝙀 and said he's in his basement, learning Runyankore. When my house was raided, and many people were denying it, later on, Muhoozi was to release a picture of my wife with soldiers standing over her with guns and owned up raiding my house. So by virtue of that, I am sure you can no longer say that that was a fake account.
Again, I'm not a lawyer or I'm not an expert in that space, but I just wanted to make clear that in some cases, you have so many fake accounts out there. There is a point that you made
in some
earlier.
cases, not in this case, Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Well, there is a point that you made earlier, and it reminded me of a great philosopher by the names of Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo once said that an idea whose time has come, you
Cannot be
cannot stop.
stopped.
Yeah, you cannot stop it. In your particular case, you have a very strong movement. The NUP is arguably one of the strongest movements or political parties in Uganda. What's the way forward?
Thank you, Paul. And I'm glad you said an idea whose time has come, not a person whose time has come, but an idea. This is an idea. I am speaking on behalf of an idea, just like you will see Senyonyi, just like you will see Rubongoya, just like you will see Waiso Mufumbiro, just like you will see these young men and women speaking about this idea whose time is here. This idea cannot be stopped and will not be stopped. The way forward is always not giving up. Not giving up, continuing to push for what is right, continuing to encourage the people, continuing to resisting by any means necessary. On our side, we are non-violent. We decided to use the politics because, we are fighting against a military dictatorship that has entrenched itself for 40 years, that took power violently by force of arms, that was aware from day one that it does not have the popular support. Museveni has never won an election, not in school, not at any level, not even MP, not even in the 80s, as you remember, in 1980, as you remember. He got 1% of the vote in 1980. The election
That's
was won.
debatable. That's debatable, Bobby.
No.
In fairness to the president, I think he has won a couple. There are some that are very questionable, but in fairness,
Paul,
I think he has won a couple.
I am talking with facts.
Yeah.
I'm talking with facts. In 1980, we had DP, we had UPC, we had CP, and we had UPM. And Museveni came last with 1% of the vote. Semogerere won the 1980 election. And Museveni claimed it had been rigged. Went to fight dictatorship, to fight vote rigging, to fight government-sanctioned extrajudicial killings and all that. When the military took over, he did not immediately call for an election. He did not hand power to the one that he knew had won. And that culture went on and on and on to the present day. So this regime is not democratic, and we don't expect it to be democratic. On our side, we are pushing for democracy. We have not called for violence because we know historically that violence at every turn has only begotten violence. When you look at all the leaders that have taken power militarily, majority of them, 90% of them, have developed that sense of entitlement, claiming they sacrifice a lot and therefore it is their right to rule, or rather misrule, the people. And also, we wanted the people to get involved massively, everybody, non-violently. So on our side, as NUP, as the People Power Movement, we are non-violent. But again, I also am aware that non-violence in many ways is more effective when the oppressor has a conscience, which is not the case in Uganda. So while we advocate for non-violence, while we are non-violent, I've said it before that there will come a time, if it has not come yet, where I will no longer be able to stop those that want to free themselves by any means necessary, including using force and using violence.
Are you suggesting that at some point that's a consideration that you're willing to consider?
Not on our side. Not on our side. We are non-violent because we know, and indeed the regime has tried as many times as possible to push us to the violent line because that is all they know. Museveni prides himself in being the master of violence, and he has spent the last 40 years stockpiling weapons. So We don't want to take him to the game that he plays best. But also, we know that our constitution says that the people of Uganda have the right to use any means, including military means, to restore constitutional order. As it is now, we don't have constitutional order.
But Bobby, if an NRM supporter hears what you just said, they will automatically say that this young man is up to something no good, right? They will obviously misinterpret what you just said. The Constitution provides for it, but hearing it from you, people might take matters in their own hands.
Thank you. Misinterpreting. Oh, I'm sorry. Please finish. You say.
Are you sure you wanna? Is that how you wanna frame it, or I'm giving you another opportunity maybe to say it in a better way?
I don't need another opportunity to say the truth in a sugar-coated way. I don't care about being misinterpreted. Paul, I'm responsible for what I say. I'm not responsible for what anybody understands or what anybody interprets. And I'm glad you said misinterpret. I mean, you've heard the late 𝙤𝙤𝙤 calling us terrorists. You have seen Museveni's son calling us terrorists. Does that make us terrorists? You know, you've seen the regime branding this a military. So, you know, the berets and the overalls, they say the military regalias, the military uniforms. Does that mean those are military uniforms? So, we are responsible for what we say, not for what they understand or interpret or misinterpret for that matter.
Let me give a shout out to a lot of people. We have, wow, this is impressive, like 500 people watching us live. So for you who are watching us live, thank you so much. Please take a minute to like and subscribe to our channel, Different Perspectives. We are building a global brand and your support helps us amplify these voices like Bobby Wine, providing a platform where both sides are heard and they are given an opportunity to explain themselves. If you value independent journalism like this, you can scan the QR code, use the links in the description below to support the Different Perspectives, or you can donate with your Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, Cash App, or Zelle. And for sure, I wanted to go back to Bobby Wine. Let's talk about something that is generating a lot of interest, the sovereignty bill. There's been a lot of controversy. People are saying that this proposal is targeting you specifically and members of the opposition, plus us, people in the diaspora. I want to get your thoughts on that, Mr. 𝙤𝙤𝙣.
Well, while a law might seem or might be targeting one person at a particular time, believe me, eventually it will target or even affect many others. One writer said when they came for the Jews, I kept quiet because I was not a Jew. They came for the blacks, I was quiet because I was not black. But when they finally came for me, there was nobody to speak for me because everybody had been taken. The same way, you remember the POMA, the Public Order Management Act, when it was still a bill, it was presented by Amama Mbabazi. It was targeting Dr. Kizza Besigye. And everybody else thought, oh, it was all right, until it eventually clamped down on the framer himself. So the same way, I'm very glad that he generated a lot of traction. But one important thing that this so-called sovereignty bill revealed, it revealed that actually these voices that are supposed to be moral voices have always been there, and they see what happens. The religious leaders, civil society, the academia, traditional leaders, name them. They have always been watching, as people are abducted and they're silent. Many of them, of course, I salute those that have always spoken out. We have these moral leaders, religious leaders, traditional leaders, and people in the academia and civil society that have spoken up. But many of them have been silent because it did not affect them. They forgot that what affects one directly affects others and all indirectly. They had always been quiet until a law that touches their money came. And suddenly they're like, oh, our church won't be able to receive money from abroad. Our institution is not going to be able to receive money from abroad. Maybe it had to take a law or a bill like that to shake them out of their slumber and remind them that they are Ugandans and they're equally affected, by these immoral and unjust laws. I'm glad that they spoke out, and I salute them. I salute the religious leaders. I salute the traditional leaders. I'm very proud that even our own Wakabaka wa Buganda came and spoke out against this law, because it was not going to affect only the NUP. Believe me, it would affect everybody else. But it's my hope and prayer that they always speak out on other matters like the women that are being abducted. They come to your house, they come to somebody's house, they abduct somebody's wife in full view of cameras. They keep her in a military barracks for more than a month. Whatever is happening to her, you saw what they did to our deputy president, Northern Uganda, Dr. 𝙤𝙤𝙩𝙩, what they did to our deputy president, Western Uganda, Mama Jolly Tukamshaba. You saw how the military and police went to the house of Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi and shot into his house, killed 10 people, and now he's the one being charged for terrorism. You saw how Natabi was abducted and kept for 37 days. And when she was brought back, her contraception had been removed from the military barracks. This is supposed to infuriate all these voices of reason. Sadly, silence. So it is my hope and prayer that just like the voices came out on this law that affects their money, that they come out on other situations that affect the people that trust them as moral voices. We have just had a rigged election where the main challenger was chased to be killed. Okay? And you didn't get a voice to that. But instead, you're seeing the would-be moral voices parading themselves and falling over themselves to appease the dictator so they can get brown envelopes and get cars. Dr. Martin Luther King, in his letter from Birmingham prison, said in the 60s that these were some of the things that were discouraging young people from drawing closer to church. Now, the way that our leaders, our moral leaders, are conducting themselves is not in any way benefiting our faiths, our churches, and our religions. So, just like, when they came out recently, which was an amazing thing, it showed the population and the world that they actually have a voice and that they can actually speak out. So, they have a challenge to show us that we should fear God more than we fear guns, and that we should love the truth more than we love money, cars, and brown envelopes.
Bobby Wine, as you can see on the screen, I'm showing pictures. My producer just put pictures of Kampala. You have a lot of supporters in Kampala who are wondering what's happening to NUP, who are wondering where it is in terms of who is running the organization right now. from where you stand, who is in charge? Are you operating from out here? Who is in charge, and who should people look up to while you are out here in Uganda, rather
Those
in
are
the
not,
United States?
Peter, sorry, Paul, those are not my supporters. Those are supporters of the truth. Those are supporters of change. Those are pained Ugandans. Those are tired Ugandans that want change. When Dr. Kizza Besigye was the opposition leader, they supported him, not because they loved the individual, but because they loved what he represented. The same way, people support us because of what we represent. I've said it many times that we should always look at one another, guide one another, and move forward together. As the institution, the National Unity Platform, still that institution is not an individual institution. When I was leaving the country, I left in my position Dr. Lina Zedriga. But she's also not working alone. We have a leadership that people look up to. But even me, I am here. I guide. I am not dead. And I'm not silent. I'm operating from a distance because we also have work to do in the diaspora. And those that have been following my works, I am not seated. And the work that I'm doing is effective. And by the time I come back home, I'm sure I will also find my brothers and sisters that I left in charge of the institution also moving forward. They've made me proud. I'm very proud of the leadership of the National Unity Platform. They're doing us great. The works that Mama Lina Zedriga and other deputy presidents are doing is great. Even what Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi is doing in prison is great because we even have work to do in prison. He's not seated. What our leader of the Parliamentary Front, Right Honorable Senyeng, is doing is great. What our able Secretary General David Leus Rubongoya is doing is great. What these young people are doing is great. What our young leaders are doing from MP level to councillor level is great. What the foot soldiers are doing is great. Each one of us is holding from wherever they are, and we're pushing to the end of this dictatorship.
We are almost out of time. One final question. On a personal note, you and your wife and, of course, your children endured so much. How are you guys doing and how are you coping?
We are alive. We are alive. My children and wife are in a different state. I am here in Washington, and I keep moving all over the states and all over the world because it is my intention to touch every button that weakens the regime. Like I told you, these military regimes, these authoritarian regimes get their energy and their support and their survival from the Western world. So we are here to weaken them. The agenda is to weaken the Museveni regime and ultimately cause its fall. There's no roundabout about that. There's no beating about the bush. We want to destroy the Museveni regime. We want to dismantle it, and we will. We will touch every button. We will reach out to everybody. We will use all legal and constitutional means on our side. But again, like I told you, we seem to have come to a path of not discouraging anybody from using any means to free us from that regime of blood and national shame.
Any final thoughts to your supporters?
The thoughts are not to my supporters. Don't support me. Support what is right. Don't look at me. Put a mirror and look at yourself. If you can't look at yourself, look at your children. Look at the oppressed people around you. This is not about me. And I don't want people to support me, but to support the truth. Because by supporting the truth, you are supporting yourself. This is not about me as an individual. It's about all of us. We must free ourselves as all of us. So to all of you there, don't give up. Change is in sight. Freedom is in sight. We are going to be free. We are going to dismantle this regime. We are going to get our freedom. We are going to enjoy our country. Museveni is going to go. I say it many times that all factors show it. The law is on our side. Because if the law was respected, Museveni would not be in charge of our country. The law is on our side. That is why none of us has ever been convicted, even when we are arrested numerous times. The political prisoners are being pushed to concede and accept the crimes they did not commit because they can't find any justification of convicting them. So the law is on our side. Time is on our side. Paul, time is on our side. We are the generation that is going to see change. And even God is on our side because God has never been on the side of injustice. So everything is on our side. Just don't give up. Don't lose hope. Believe me, so many terrible things are going to happen. Many will be arrested, tortured, maimed, killed. But in the end, we are going to be free. We are going to see freedom in our lifetime. All of you that are in the diaspora, you're going to get opportunity to come back home and enjoy your country. You know, all those that are in exile, they will return home in pride and confidence as Ugandans. When Museveni is gone, we are going to repeal all those stupid laws that are being passed. Never again will Ugandans need to fear the police or the military. The military will be guarding our borders and will be dignified. The police will not be playing politics, but it will be serving its noble duty of protecting citizens and their property. We are going to enjoy our country. Just don't give up. From my side, we are doing what we are doing. I salute all of you leaders, those that have not sold out, those that have stood for the truth. Don't give up. You are going to be proud of yourself one day. One day we shall hold hands and say, Hallelujah, God has done it. I see that day coming. Don't give up, my friends. Temupoa, tugenda kuwangula nawe. Tugenda kufuna eddembe lyaffe. You know, we are going to be happy. We are going to be free. We are going to win. Tuzakusingura and tuzakuhangura. You know, to have a singuzi. So don't fear. Don't give up. Keep the hope alive. If you see a comrade that is about to give up, energize them. Show them around. Show them that history shows us that oppressed people have not been oppressed forever. So encourage each other. And don't look at one person. Don't look at an individual. I am leading you, but also be a leader. I've said it ever since I showed up, that I want everybody to be a 𝘿𝙤𝙣. God keeps me around maybe to keep reiterating these things. I could have died in Arua. I did not. I could have died in Luka. I did not. They searched for me for 2 months. God covered me. When the entire military is looking for me, they didn't find me. That was not my power or wisdom. No, that was the power of God. So there's a reason why we are still alive. Why? Because God has shown it to us that we should, and indeed we will, see freedom in our lifetime. The goal is a new Uganda. Finally, I am going to come back to Uganda. I've refused to say I'm in exile, even though technically I am, but I refuse to say that. I've told my people that I am on a move, I'm on a mission, and the final destination is going to be Kampala, Uganda.
Well,
thank you very much, Paul, for having me.
What a pleasure to have you. It's been a fascinating discussion. Stick around for a minute. I want to again to reiterate what I said earlier. I said I reached out to the NRM and the Electoral Commissioner for a possible comment or rebuttal. I did not hear back from them. This platform is still open for you. If you want to reach out, feel free to reach out. I'm extending an invitation to you. To my guest, Bobi Wine, what a terrific gentleman you are.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here and for doing this with us today.
Thank you very much. One last thing, if you will permit me.
Sure.
I want to send my condolences to the family of Joe Nam, that journalist that was killed. He's the author of this book, The 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙪 Goes.
I know him. You know? I know he's my good friend.
Yeah.
My condolences to him as well. Yes.
Yeah. He passed away, but I mean, what we can do is to ensure, please look out for this book. Read it. Read it and let us keep him alive in our actions. The only thing that you can do to keep a revolutionary alive is to keep the revolution going. We shall get there. Thank you very much for God and my country.
Yes, stick around for a moment until I close out, okay? President Bobi Wine, it's been a privilege to host you. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time
you
and
for
for your
having me.
and good luck with everything that you are trying to do. Be safe out there, my friend. Just to conclude, Uganda stands at a critical moment. Two narratives, one country, still searching for a common ground. As always, we bring you both sides. And NRM, I'm happy to host you as well. Don't hesitate to reach out so we can have a debate like we just had with Bobi Wine. Paul Ndiho, this is different perspectives. If you haven't already, you can please follow, subscribe, and share this conversation on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and wherever you get your podcasts. If you value independent journalism like this, scan the QR code in the link in the description below to support different perspectives. You can also donate with your Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, Cash App, or Zelle and support independent journalism. Until then, thank you so much. From Washington, we say good evening or good night. Thank you so much. Take care.